Welcome to the Heavy Debriefings podcast.
We are Josh Runquist and the Metal Faerie,
A fun-loving metal couple that brings you the best in new music.
What did you just make me listen to? As well as movies.
3 hours later, nothing of value was added. TV.
It's going good, so why not cancel it? Video games.
Here's an idea. Remake the game, but make it worse. Wrestling.
Why are we still watching this week after week? And all things entertainment.
I knew it. I knew she was behind Black Guy Gates. And a little insight into our personal lives. You don't mind that I trauma dump on you, do you?
Emotional support girlfriend, party one. He's a handsome fella.
I know, you keep telling me. We're made for each other, because no one else would have us. Enjoy the show. Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for the Heavy Debriefings podcast, episode 35. I am quite ornery, and I am with the very sick, not just in the head, but physically as well.
The Metal Faerie.
Yeah, it's been kind of a horrible week for both of us, hasn't it?
It's been a rough week. I have had the flu. I'm still on the hopefully the tail end of it now. But yeah, still having some stomach issues though. But I hope I'm on the mend now.
Yeah, and I've had a very rough week for a lot of mental reasons.
Yes.
And part of my voice, well, you're basically going to be able to tell that I don't want to put up with any crap during the podcast this week.
Yeah.
I hope I can still make it fun and stuff like that, but
yeah.
If I'm not my regular old cheery self, I do apologize in advance.
Yes.
But we got a lot of stuff to carry on about. Some good, some bad, some other stuff. Our theme of the week. Whole bunch of brand new music.
Yes.
A lot of stuff going on. But of course, we can't start any of that without the news. It's time for the news.
Booze, drugs, guns, lies, blackmail, and laughter.
With Anchorwoman, the Metal Faerie, and co-host Josh Runquist.
But look out at the corner of 12th and Main because I'm gonna be sick.
Alright, so as far as I know, although we are recording this on a Friday, there is no celebrity deaths.
Not that I'm aware of.
That's at least one loss to
That is.
this wretched week.
It doesn't happen often on our show.
No, it doesn't, but don't worry, next week we'll probably make up for that.
We have a list ready for you.
Indeed. So, what do you want to cover first?
I mean, look, last week we kind of went against our recent trends and actually talked about some wrestling, so let's start with a little wrestling news.
Okay.
So first up, Kevin Kelly has been fired from AEW. Now, yeah, I've heard there were some performance issues, Tony just not liking kind of the way he's been doing, but then he also made some comments on Twitter, or X, was it?
Yeah, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you look any further into it?
I just briefly saw about the comments, but I didn't see what they were or anything.
Okay, so apparently Kevin Kelly has been sharing some QAnon stuff.
Oh, okay.
A whole bunch of conspiracy theory stuff, from child abduction to things that are much, much darker.
Oh, okay.
Ian Riccaboni of Ring of Honor called him out on his crap.
Oh, okay.
And that's what started all of this.
I gotcha.
And then it just kind of snowballed into his firing.
Oh, dear.
Yesterday they recorded Collision.
Yeah.
It is not live tomorrow as we're recording this.
Okay.
It was recorded back on Thursday, which I imagine they also did some Ring of Honor stuff for that as well.
Everything.
But Kevin Kelly was not there. It was Tony Schiavone and Nigel McGuinness.
And I heard it had just been the two for a little while now. Maybe I was wrong on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it was 3, and now it was down to 2.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone is going to be filling in until they find someone else to do permanently to fill in that role.
Is there anybody you'd like to see in that role?
Mamma Mia!
Oh, that would be amazing.
I can't imagine he would want to, though, but I would love to see that happen.
What is he doing now? Is he...
He was doing some UFC stuff and some mixed martial arts stuff.
Yeah.
But that's more like on a monthly or bi-monthly basis.
Okay.
Whereas Collision, he would have to do it weekly, so I can't imagine that he would actually want to.
Yeah, I mean, that might be a hard sell for him, but maybe he misses it too, you know?
You never know.
You never know.
What about you?
I was thinking the same thing, honestly. I think he would be amazing. Although I also love Nyla Rose. When she was on commentary, she was hilarious.
Oh, she was.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to stick stick with someone that's in there. I mean, I think she would be a great choice. I think RJ City would be a great choice.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good choices that they could go with.
Absolutely.
You can't just rely on Excalibur forever because he's going to burn himself out.
Yeah. Oh, I also saw that they re-signed Jim Ross.
I did not know that until just now.
Yeah,
How come you didn't write that down in the
I
notes?
totally forgot. It just dawned on me now.
Well, there we go.
I mean,
did you look any further into it?
No, I did not look into it further, but I read the headline, so hopefully I'm
Maybe
not
he's
being
doing
bamboozled.
Saturdays.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I love Jim Ross during his heyday, but he is not there anymore. You can tell he just is angry and does not care.
Well, he's battling cancer right now, so that's
absolutely understandable. He's gone through a lot, but with that, it makes it hard for him to be A-game Jim Ross. So
well, what is A-game Jim Ross nowadays?
Well, that is true.
I mean, I wish they would have went with someone a little fresher now. I mean,
yeah,
it started off great, but you could just see over the years that he was a part of it that he just wasn't into it anymore.
Yeah.
And obviously cancer and stuff like that. And
yeah.
a whole bunch of other stuff happens as well. But I don't know. We're gonna get more into that AEW stuff, aren't we?
We are. So in other AEW news, our favorite VeggieTale, Sammy Guevara, has been suspended.
Do you even know why?
Due to his match with not Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy. When he was landing, he kind of landed with his knee on Jeff's head and
causing an injury.
And there was a possible concussion. There is a concussion, and instead of stopping the match, he continued.
Which really should be the ref's fault, not his fault entirely.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of both, but yeah, the ref should have stopped it, though. They're the official.
Well, I mean, I don't know who's doing the refereeing in that match, but I remember Rick Knox got in huge trouble for letting Moxley continue on after getting a concussion, so why should this be any different?
It's true.
If it was Rick Knox again, maybe that should be a let go situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know who did the refereeing for that match because that happened on either Rampage or Collision, which we don't watch.
Yeah, although when Aubrey tried to stop the match with Matt Hardy back in the day, that was kind of the reverse thing. I feel like people were kind of mad at her for stopping it almost.
Of course, in the words of Bryan Danielson, wrestling fans are fickle.
They are. They are very, very fickle. Speaking of Matt Hardy, he possibly might not be with AEW much longer.
And could you blame him if he left?
No. I mean, I feel like he's been completely misused since he came to AEW, but even more so with his brother coming as well. They're just jobbers. They're complete jobbers, if that.
The talent enhancements, as we call it in 2024.
Exactly.
No, everyone was so excited because he showed up as Broken Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Which is one of the most polarizing characters in modern day wrestling.
I mean, yeah.
Old school fans hate it, new school fans love it.
It's mixed response.
Yes, and what have they done with Broken Matt Hardy?
Nothing. He disappeared.
No, they had one terrible match on the Hardy compound.
Oh yeah, with Private Party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was against Sammy Guevara.
Gosh.
Yeah, it was if that's the last Broken Matt Hardy, deletion match, it went down in flames.
I feel like if he did leave AEW, he would make many, more better,
More better?
I feel like he would continue some of those videos, but they'd be a lot better.
I don't even know if he would want to at this point. What's going to happen, in my humblest of opinions?
Yeah.
He's not going to wrestle until Jeff Hardy's contract's up. Then they're going back to WWE.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see them maybe coming back for SummerSlam or Survivor Series or something like that.
Maybe.
That's honestly what I imagine happening.
It could be.
And that's really sad because I wanted to see them do something in AEW.
Yeah.
But of course, what's the problem? Too many people on the roster.
Yep.
And only a select few are chosen to represent, while the rest just take the pins and submissions.
100%. There's so many unused talent on that roster.
Well, we will get into that more in the show when
we will.
We've done something we haven't done in a few months.
Yeah.
We actually watched Dynamite.
Yes.
But we'll get into that after the theme of the week.
We will. So moving on from wrestling, a little bit of music news. So Jane Weinberg, who we had formerly talked about leaving Slipknot or being fired from Slipknot, has now joined Suicidal Tendencies.
And Infectious Grooves.
Okay.
Both led by Psycho Miko himself.
Okay.
Mike Neer.
Yeah.
Infectious Grooves is a lot... Well, have you ever seen... You've seen Encino Man, right?
Yeah.
Infectious Grooves plays the prom.
Oh, Oh, okay.
So if you remember that at all, that's Infectious Grooves.
It's been quite a while since I've seen the movie,
Okay,
but
so it's a little more ska, a little more
Okay.
based like that, and then Suicidal Tendencies.
Yeah.
You've seen, you
Yes.
don't remember.
pretty much.
It's like being in a relationship with someone with instant memory loss.
For some things, yeah.
Yeah.
But I admit it.
Yeah, but, yeah, so the reason we bring this up is not just because he was in Slipknot. It's because it seems like there's been a sports trade going on in the drumming world of metal.
I mean, a little bit.
As the one who is doing the stuff for Infectious Grooves and Suicidal Tendencies is now in Sepultura.
Yes.
And going to be doing their farewell tour.
Yeah.
And there's rumors, as we talked about last week, that Eloy Casagrande has left Sepultura to join Slipknot. So it feels like everyone shifted over.
They just traded some players. It's that time of year.
Now, as someone who probably cares the most, maybe, about Suicidal Tendencies out of all of this, if that...
Sure, we'll go with that.
What do you think of any of this?
I mean, it's like a local scene. I mean, all the local bands around here have pretty much, or have had the same players at some point in time. They just kind of rotate around, and, well, that seems to be hitting the big scenes now, too.
Oh, no. That's all the scenes.
All the scenes. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
There's no scenes with enough drummers.
Well, that is true.
No one wants to play.
No.
That's why occasionally, like at least once or twice a year, someone asks me to play drums again.
Yep.
Even though I haven't played in years.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I probably will never be able to play again. But people still ask me.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough drummers in the world. Everyone wants to
That
be a
is
guitarist.
true. Or a lead singer.
Well, you could lead sing and lead guitar at the same time if you're good enough.
Well, that's true.
No one wants to play bass unless you're a failed guitarist.
Yeah.
There's occasionally a band who does keyboards, but keyboardists never listened to rock or metal before. And then the drummer, it's just like it's the same one in all the different bands.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know how many local shows there are where there's just one drum set up there and it's just
Yes.
the one drummer?
Yes. We've attended some.
Yeah, and that drummer doesn't get paid extra either.
Yeah, he doesn't get paid at all. What are you talking about?
Hey, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could multiply. I mean, if there's 4 bands on the bill and it's times 0, it's 4 times 0.
Exactly.
What could have been? Anyways, what else we got in news?
Final piece of news, a little gaming news. So Warner Brothers has come out saying that they're basically not going to be doing single player anymore, but it's going to be more microtransactions and kind of like online multiplayer
Live
stuff
service
like
games.
that. Mm-hmm.
Despite Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League not doing gangbusters, not even doing good,
Yeah.
actually doing a poor,
Yep.
they're now doubling down on those style games.
Ugh.
They're no longer going to be doing what's considered the AAA games, which is usually known as like the top tier single player games.
Yeah.
And they're going to be focusing more on this stuff, despite it failing very, very hard.
Yeah.
Now, as someone who refuses to buy the Nintendo Switch versions of the Batman Arkham games, but you have seen me play the Arkham
Yes,
games.
I have.
What do you think of this?
I mean, I am definitely more of a single player person. Some games I enjoy playing, like couch co-op, but I've never really been an online player person. I don't have that thing called Friends.
Friends?
Friends. I've
Friends?
only seen it written, I think. And microtransactions obviously are one of the evils in this world. So I think it's stupid, and especially if it's not something that's going well for them already. Like it just seems like a dumb move.
And the only PC game you even enjoyed was The Sims, and you only did that when cheating as well.
I mean, I did use some cheats with it, yes, of course.
Everyone uses cheats with The Sims.
course.
That's what makes it fun.
Of course, yes. But I did love The Sims.
Yes, but, yeah, for me, this really sucks. I mean, when I first heard about Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League, it was made by the same team that made the Batman Arkham games, so
Yeah.
that made me very excited.
Yeah.
Then leaders of the company got fired and
Yeah.
left. Then they decided, and I wouldn't doubt it had to do because they wanted to switch Warner Brothers wanted to switch things over to this.
Very likely.
And now we're seeing all the fruits of that labor going down in flames as well. Because
Yes.
I've seen reports that Arkham Knights, the game that came out about a year and a half ago, has
Yeah.
More people playing online than
Yeah.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice
Yeah.
League.
Yeah, I remember
And
they
that's
said
in
that.
the hundreds.
Oh,
Online. Hundreds of people.
that is not good.
That
is
is
not good.
That is not good at all. I remember saying the biggest count that they had so far was 2,000 at the same time.
Boy, that's pretty terrible.
And they're doubling down
Yeah.
on doing those kinds of games.
Yeah.
Seems like a terrible
It really
idea.
seems like a bad business decision.
Oh, but everything in the video game industry is going in the wrong direction
Well,
right
that
now.
is true. Yes.
Do you think we're gonna get another crash like we got in 1984?
Oh,
Like when E.T. came out for the Atari and people said video games are dead, and then it took the Nintendo Entertainment System to actually come over to America to rejuvenize it again. Do you see another video game crash?
I don't know if it's gonna be a crash, but obviously video games have come a long way since, and they're such more of a prominent role in people's lives at this point than they were in the mid 80s. But I do think I think we've been in a bit of a lull since COVID, just with the nature of the world, and I think we're kind of seeing some of the results of that still, and people don't really know where to go with it now, and expectations are all over the place. So I feel like it's gonna be even more of a lull before we kind of see what the next wave is.
The way I kind of see it is a lot of people were staying home during COVID, obviously.
Yes.
So a lot more people were playing games.
Absolutely.
And there was a lot of games that were coming out during that time that were finishing up. And now, like last year when we had too many games that was going on, there's a lot less this year that's happening now. And it feels like a bigger drop now because if you don't like those games, you're going to feel like there's no games out there. And the people that were playing games, it's like, well, there's nothing out there for me to play anymore. I guess I'm just going to stop playing. And maybe never even come back to it. Maybe even sell their stuff. It's just going to drop that much more.
Well, and I know we've talked about, like, there haven't been that many games that are just strictly PS5. Like, so many are still PS4 and stuff. And, like...
Yeah, funny enough, I am playing one right now that is just PS5 exclusive.
That is true.
We will get to that later.
Yeah, but I think that's also a huge change, because I think in previous systems, we were used to having a little bit more of a time period where it was strictly one system, or more so anyways.
Exclusivity.
Yeah, and I feel like we're just not seeing that now, so it makes the timeline feel all goofy.
Well, it is also weird too, because like Xbox is like exploring their options now. And like trying to put some other games on other systems, and
that's true.
Well, Nintendo is only going to keep their stuff on Nintendo. Let's call a spade a spade here. Mario's not showing up on PlayStation. Zelda's not showing up on PlayStation. That is not happening.
No way.
But like when it comes to the PlayStation stuff, like there's no big first party exclusive this year.
It's true.
Third party ones, sure, like the one that I'm currently playing right now. But and Xbox, they have a few towards the end of the year, like in August and stuff like that, like the Indiana Jones game, for example, and some other games. But a lot of people lost a lot of faith in Xbox lately.
Well, and I think also with Xbox buying a lot of companies, although I think some of the lines of that might be blurring if they are willing to like let them go to other systems as well. And
they're also dropping developers too, like the company Toys for Bob, which is best known nowadays for the recreations of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, have just become independent.
Okay.
Yet their very first game is going to be an Xbox exclusive game.
Of course. You can leave, but you got to give us your first game, your firstborn.
It's all strange. I hope the single player games don't die off.
I hope
is
not.
My fear, because I also have no friends.
Yeah.
I have a lot of acquaintances.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people I know.
Yeah.
But this lonely guy only plays games by himself.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think...
I don't need to be called derogatory terms by 14-year-olds while playing Grand Theft Auto online.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's part of it is generational. I think the younger generations now are so much more into playing online with people because they are just more online than we were. Because when I was a kid, I didn't have internet access until I was a later teenager, and so it's
likewise.
Yeah, and so I think it's a generational thing, but I hope they recognize that us older folks still like playing games, and we don't want to go strictly online with other people.
And also the microtransactions, like kids defend them these days.
Yeah,
because they grew up with them. That's all they know.
Well, I think they don't.
They think it's cheating if it's already in the game for free and you just earn it.
Right.
Which is really messed up to me.
I agree.
But
we're
living in a world right now.
It is.
And things are only gonna continue to keep getting weird. And by weirder, I do mean weirder, because it is time for yours and mine's and everyone's favorite segment of the show, the Metal Faerie's Reality Review.
Damn that ever do that shit. Not right.
And now it's time for the Metal Faerie's Reality Review.
Oh, please make the voices stop!
Alright, so what bullcrap do we have in the reality world this week?
So same shows as previous weeks, but Up first was the second part of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion show. This one was just kind of a boring one. I felt like it was a lot of continuation from the last one. A lot of Dorit kind of facing her issues with everybody else again, especially with Kyle. Them just kind of rehashing all their issues about, where their friendship is at, and Kyle kind of turning to other friends while she is dealing with her marriage, and Kyle just kind of being mad at Dorit and Sutton as well at kind of outing a lot of her issues with her husband, well, soon to be ex-husband possibly, who knows, because she just wasn't really at a point yet where she was ready to talk about it with them or publicly. One kind of interesting thing though, Kyle's sister, Kathy Hilton, also Paris and Nikki's mom, if you are familiar with them, she is going to be on next week, which she used to be on the show in one of the past seasons, but was not on this season. But it'll be interesting to hear from her kind of where her and Kyle's relationship is at, because they've had kind of a rocky relationship. And in the previews, it sounds like she's kind of talking smack about Kyle, saying that, she's known that that Kyle has to have known for at least a couple years now that she has had issues with Maurizio, and just kind of outing some of her kind of secrets about her marriage and stuff. And it should be interesting seeing next week the third and final part.
What could they possibly end on?
I know, right? We will find out.
All right, now for the punchable faces.
Yes, Vanderpump Rules. So this was the rest of their trip in Tahoe. A lot of it was based around Tom and kind of trying to remend his relationships with his other castmates. I wouldn't say it was a huge redemption arc for him, but he did get to a better place with them. He kind of described it as he was a dog living on the streets outside a house, and he still can't come in the house, but they might put out a bowl of food for him now. Mainly his relationship with Lala and Sheena. He guys kind of got to a better place with them, where they're kind of feeling bad about kind of constantly going after him since the breakup, and kind of starting to see Ariana for being a little too full of herself since the breakup. I mean, obviously she went through bad stuff, but she's at a point where she's just always attacking Tom, and if anybody even has like the littlest bit of sympathy for Tom, she will cut them out of her life, and just kind of acting like she's Queen Bee, and that's a no good situation.
Look, there's only one Queen Bee.
Well, that is true.
We all know who that is.
Exactly.
So, what do you think's gonna happen next week?
I'm hoping at some point somebody puts Ariana in her place. I mean, obviously Tom was the wrong person in the situation of everything that happened, but she needs to realize that she needs to know her role and kind of step it down a little bit, because they're all terrible people.
Well, they're all terrible people. If they weren't all terrible people, no one would watch.
Exactly.
That's bravo.
Yeah.
Television for terrible people.
Thank you.
And there you go, the Metal Faerie's reality review. Do you keep up with Real Housewives, Vanderpump Rules? Are you one of those people that watches Below Deck or something? Let us know in the comments down below. And now we've come to the real best part of the show, at least in my humblest opinion, when I finally hold the Metal Faerie accountable for all the lies and bullcrap that she's told me over the years. Maybe I'm learning it's a little bit of dementia, because she constantly forgets to check out the bands that she says that she's going to. But I hold her to it in this segment that we call Accountability 101. Class is in session. It's time for Accountability 101, where the Metal Faerie is being held accountable and having her check out one band a week that she actually said she was gonna check out.
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that. Ponder.
So this week was supposed to be last week.
Yes.
But we finally got to it here as we pulled some audibles over the last few weeks.
We did.
But we've covered a large gamut of different bands, from doom to prog to depressing to everything else that we could consider on. So we went a little more positive on this one with Devin Townsend, and specifically this time around the Devin Townsend Band.
Yes.
One of only two albums from the Devin Townsend Band.
Yeah.
wanted to pick out something from the Devin Townsend stuff, and you wanted the album that had Storm on it.
Yes.
So we went with 2003's Accelerated Evolution.
Yeah.
One of the first two Devin Townsend solo albums that I got, I picked it up at the same time as Terria.
Yeah.
You would have thought this one would be my favorite of the two, as Terria is more out there and wacky and a loving tribute to Canada, where Accelerated Evolution is more poppy, catchy, love songs, all these different types of stuff that's going on here, and much, much more radio friendly.
Yeah.
Yet I went with Terria for the longest time.
Yeah.
I can only think of that meme of when she listens to heavier music than you.
Yeah.
When it comes to this situation. Because all this time, you've never really enjoyed his solo work, but you love Strap Young Lad.
I do love Strap Young Lad.
Well, one album anyways.
No, more than one.
Oh, come now.
A couple.
Besides City, what do you enjoy?
I forget the names of the albums.
Exactly.
I'm not an album name person.
I know, you only go by songs.
Yeah.
But not in this series of Accountability 101, where do force you to go through and check out the albums.
Yes.
Sometimes you get to do it in your fortress of solitude.
Sometimes
it's on your weekend excursions.
Yes.
Sometimes it's while I'm playing something on PS5 and I've just forced you to listen to it because I know you're going to forget otherwise. And boy, was this the case this time because you were sick.
I mean, this week there's no way around it, really.
This is so fresh that it's pretty much within the last hour we got done listening to it.
Pretty much.
Again, this is Devin's more of a foray into pop metal, progressive metal, some more disenchanted stuff, but usually an more feeling of positivity, at least for the stuff that I listen to. I mean, you're not getting Woods of Ypres here.
No,
this sounds like Ariana Grande in comparison.
I can see that.
But you were already familiar with the song Storm.
Yes.
But now you heard the whole album.
Yes.
Let me know your thoughts and notes on Accelerated Evolution.
Yeah, so I'll start with Storm since that's the one that I mentioned
starting
ahead of
with
time.
the second song. Okay.
Well, no, I'm going to go back to other ones. But
no, you are starting with the second song.
Well, that is true. But I love that song. I have had that song on other playlists before. It is a song.
I don't believe you.
I have.
It's not strapping. I don't believe you.
I know, but I remember like you saying that it was one of your favorite songs at one point.
It is.
And that made me get into it more. And I listened to it because you like it. But then I got into it more too.
That can't be the only reason.
No, I really like it.
Okay.
I really like it. I also recognized number 4, Deadhead.
Yes.
I remember you playing that one quite a bit. I like that one a lot as well.
Boy, that's a cheery song, isn't it?
Right. But with both songs, I really like that. Like his voice like shines through on those two songs more than any of the other songs, I would say.
Well, that's what I've been trying to tell you all these years.
Yeah. And lyrically too, I think both songs, like especially number 2 for me, like
Storm.
Yeah. Sorry, Storm.
Right. You only write down the track numbers. You don't write down the track names.
I did write down the names this time. Okay, so outside of that, we'll rewind back to number 1. I liked it. It was definitely a diverse kind of feelings throughout the song.
Well, that's one thing with this album. It feels like a lot of the songs have like 2 distinct different parts to them.
Yeah, I could see that. It still doesn't beat Strapping Young Lad for me, but it is like definitely way more up my alley than a lot of other Devin projects that he's been a part of. So I definitely like that one.
Okay.
Number 3, Random Analysis.
Yes.
That was one of my least favorite ones on the
Really?
Yeah. Like I felt like the name was kind of fitting for it, Random, because it just felt kind of like all over the place in a way, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And just not as catchy for me. But number 5, Suicide.
Boy, is that a topic for this week.
I know, right?
Oh, sorry. Am I letting my thoughts out again?
A little bit. I like that one. It has some really catchy melodic parts. I really dug that one. Traveler. That is one of the poppiest ones. I felt like, in a way, it almost kind of threw my mood around because I felt like Traveler and also Slow Me Down, the last song, I felt like they were like another level of pop, and they almost kind of felt like they should be on a different album. I mean, I get the album's kind of, very diverse, but it almost felt like they should have been a different, even more poppy album on their own. Number 7, Away. That one, it had a little bit of wankery, I felt like.
Well, I mean, that was basically like his tribute to his Steve Vai days, like showing off his guitar solos.
That makes sense then. That makes sense. But yeah, that was a little winkery for me, but I get it in that context. And then number 8, Sunday Afternoons. That one I've had some really pretty parts, but some of it was a little boring for me. But overall, though, I definitely like this a lot more than some of the other Devin Townsend. I keep saying project because
Well, I mean, that is one of them. That was the longest one.
Yes,
of solo
but his
stuff.
projects in general, definitely more up my alley than some of the stuff that I've heard from him. It doesn't beat strapping for me, but there are definitely some songs in here that I really liked and that I would put on playlists.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should also check out the Devin Townsend project album, Addicted.
Okay.
Because that is a little more modern, has a little more electronic, modern pop kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
It also has Annika on there as well.
And I love her.
Yeah, so if we hit the Devin Townsend route again,
Yeah.
I think that should be an album that you should hit with because there's a lot of very catchy stuff. Arguably his catchiest album.
Okay. I'm open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there we go. I finally got you to check out a full Devin Townsend album that was not Strappy on Lad.
Are you happy that I actually liked some of it?
Yes.
Good.
Now I just wish you would check out the new Black by Strappy on Lad. The one
new
album
what?
The new Black.
Okay.
By Strappy on Lad.
Yeah.
Because you basically gave up with Alien.
Maybe.
Have you even listened to Chicken Feather?
I don't know. Probably not.
The self-titled album?
No.
So it's basically just City and Alien for you.
Maybe.
Heavy is a really heavy thing.
I can't remember titles.
The first album?
I might have. I don't remember.
Right on. So we're going to be continuing on
Like
here.
I said, I am not an album title person. I need to look at the songs and yeah.
All right, everybody. You can see where the Metal Faerie's mind is when she's sick, annoyed, and doesn't actually...
Well, I don't know.
Well, I'm doing all of this right now because I am shuffling up the Spin the Choice wheel.
You are.
We got 17 entries right now. There's a few more I actually should be adding into here right now. Actually, I can only think of one.
That works.
Shuffle, 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 back up to 18, and go ahead and spin the choice.
All right. Big money.
See what happens here. Oh,
Okay.
a band that we're going to be talking about in the next segment.
Yeah, we will be.
You're only really familiar with one album from this band.
Yeah.
Let's call a spade here.
On my own, yes. You've
Yes.
played other stuff for me, of
Right,
course.
but that's exactly why we're doing this.
Yep.
And, I mean, the whole point of this was, hey, I should actually go check that out, or, hey,
Yeah.
you should check this out. Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah,
This is a perfect example of that.
it is.
A few weeks back, I listed them as my favorite band. It is, of course, Nevermore.
Yes.
And I'm going to have you go with their final album, The Obsidian Conspiracy.
All right.
I think it's their catchiest album.
Yes.
I think it'll have the most songs outside of Dead Heart in a Dead World that you'll enjoy.
Okay.
Some of the other ones are a little more too prog for you.
Yeah.
Because I know your style.
Yes.
And there might even be a couple on this one that might be a little too prog for you, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But all of that said, I think you'll enjoy that one. But yes, Nevermore next week on Accountability 101. So now that we covered all of those 3 segments so far, it's time to get into the focal centerpiece of the whole show, the theme of the week.
Well, now I'm here to tell you about the only real path to mental health.
Now it's time for our theme of the week. What will the topic be this week?
That's right, it's the something or other.
So we had such a fun time doing last Bracket Fight, which of course was on Gothic Melodic Doom Metal.
Yes.
We landed on this on the Spin the Choice wheel again and actually went through with it, and we picked out 16 progressive metal bands.
Yes.
Now, there is a couple caveats here. One, just like with the Doom category, I could have put too many bands on here.
Yeah.
I easily could have put 128 if we really wanted to do like the ultimate prog showdown.
Yeah.
Problem is, you don't know that many.
That is true.
So we kept it to 16, and no, it's not always going to be 16. In fact, we figured out the bands that will be in a future segment, which has 32, or 64.
64.
64, my apologies.
Yep.
And that one's right up your alley.
It is.
So you can see
It is.
everything that's going on there as well. But this time we picked 16 bands that are prog metal, or at least prog metal adjacent, because some of them you could say are a little more folk metal, some you could argue more power metal, but they all fit in the prog somewhere, some way, shape, or form.
That's true.
How confident are you feeling going going into this?
Definitely more confident last week, I would say. I mean, there's some bands that I haven't, listened to their whole discography, but I at least have more of a feel for the bands than I did with like the doom of last week.
But you actually did a pretty good job at that. I mean,
I
you
tried.
added some stuff that I wasn't even really there with.
I tried.
Well, right on.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been shuffling here. 3, 2, 1, and one more. So, we're gonna get right into this right now.
All right.
As that's a YouTuber Bricks is like from jumping right into it.
Oh, that's an
This is
interesting
going to be
one.
an interesting one. Orphan Land versus Green Carnation. Now, first of all, as we always do with this,
Yeah.
the little intros of the band.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Orphan Land?
I really enjoy them. They're a very unique band. I mean, there's not a lot of well-known Middle Eastern metal bands, especially well-known here in the United States.
Well, they're starting to be.
They're starting to be more. But they're kind of one of the pioneers, I would say.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
I mean, they started in the early 90s.
Yeah. Again, very unique sound. I mean, obviously there's progressive in there, but there's also like the folk elements, a little bit of power, kind of a mix of a lot of things. But I really like them. Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Green Carnation?
Yeah, so that's...
First of all, do you remember seeing Green Carnation?
I do remember seeing Green Carnation. Obviously, this is one you introduced me to, and we saw at Prog Power when
2016.
when they did Light of Day, Day of Darkness.
Light of Day.
I said it right.
Yes.
Yay.
And of course, the vinyl is right there.
It is, which I did enjoy, and their album that came out after we saw them was in 2021.
Leaves of Yesteryear.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that album too. I thought that was amazing. Outside of that, I'm not familiar with them really.
One release you definitely need to check out, Know Your Style.
Yeah.
And you'll want to check it out just on the title alone, the acoustic verses.
Yeah.
Which, if you couldn't gather, is an
acoustic?
acoustic album.
Is it now?
Yeah, so I know that's up your alley.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be another bracket fight or top 10 or something like that. The acoustic albums or acoustic songs.
That
or,
would be good. That would
or
be
acoustic
good.
versions of songs.
That would be really good.
See, we spitball during recording of the show.
We do, and that's okay. But yeah, I guess as far as how I classify them, obviously there's prog elements in there.
Well, I mean, there's prog, there's black metal, there's folk metal.
That's true.
There's symphonic. There's
Yeah, they're kind of a mix too.
yeah, like they've almost hit on every style.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
Light of Day, Day of Darkness. I hear Bathory style riffs going on in there.
Yeah.
Leaves of Yesteryear, there's like symphonic elements in there, and of course the lead singer Green Carnation used singer of Stania
Yes.
as well, so
Yes,
you
yes.
can obviously hear that style going on there as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Shout out just in case you're listening to this.
Yes.
So what do we go with here? Orphan Land or Green Carnation?
This is a hard one.
I am going Green Carnation because of my attachment to them. And,
I totally
Light of
understand.
Day, Day of Darkness is my favorite song.
Yeah.
Favorite album. Some people just call it a single song or a single.
Yeah.
I think it classifies as an album because it's 60 minutes in length.
Yes.
So, Green Carnation stops.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you. I mean, what's more proggy than a 60-minute song?
Yeah.
So.
And that explains why I might as well still be a virgin, because my favorite song is an hour-long song.
Not to take anything away from Orphan Land again, I absolutely love them, but I'm gonna go with Green Carnation.
Yeah, good choice.
Yes.
Green Carnation. And I also figured out, if you're listening to last week's show, you'll know that we got very disgruntled when we did the theme of the week.
We did.
Because we recorded it 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
I figured out the problem.
Yeah?
I had ad block on. And on this particular site, if you use ad block, it messes with everything.
I bet.
They do it on purpose, so you see the ads.
That makes sense.
So I turned ad block off, and wouldn't you know it, it's working like a charm. I could save everything, I could do
Good.
everything right.
Good.
So I just have to turn off ad block when it comes to this.
Okay.
Now here comes another interesting one.
Yeah.
Pain of Salvation versus Sabotage.
Yeah.
Now, we just covered Pain of Salvation on Accountability 101 just a few weeks ago.
We did.
So your thoughts on everything that you've heard from Pain of Salvation so far?
Yeah, there's definitely songs and things about their sound that I really do like. I really like his voice, Dan.
Daniel Gildenlow.
Yeah, and he's a looker.
It's from All the Capoeira.
All the capoeira.
And he basically is the, you'll know this better than I am, the singer of Maroon 5.
Oh,
That guy.
yeah.
Daniel Gildenlow kind of stole a trick from him when it comes to music videos, because he gets laid in all of his music videos just like he does.
Oh, yeah, that's fitting.
Even in the song Meaningless, he's a cadaver.
Yeah.
And the one doing an autopsy on him is just like so hot and bothered by Daniel Gildenlow as a corpse that she has to do what she needs to do with him.
I mean, I've seen pictures, that adds up.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm not super familiar with them. I've only really, you've played quite a bit for me, and I've only deep dived on the one album myself. Sabotage, I have listened to more. I really, really like them. Now, I'm not to the point where I could like name their albums or anything like that, but I do have more of a history with them than with Pain of Salvation. Yeah, you?
I'm not going to do the name songs thing. I think we've
Please
already established
Please
that.
don't.
You can't be put on the spot.
No, I can't.
Sabotage is one of the most triumphant prog bands out there.
That is true.
I mean, they wrote Hall of the Mountain King, which is like one of the first big progressive metal songs out there.
Yeah.
And of course, one of their own Christmas songs became the whole thing of one of the biggest Christmas selling bands ever in Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yes.
So, it's really hard to take all that away.
It is.
And just think of how many bands were inspired by Sabotage.
Absolutely.
But Pain of Salvation is much more proggy.
That is true.
Like, they are a definition of a progressive band because they will never write the same thing twice.
That is true.
There's a lot of quirky moments going on.
Yeah.
Daniel's vocal range, like everything that he hit for the highs and the lows and everything in between.
Yeah.
I have to go Pain of Salvation due to that.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Sabotage could be a little more orchestral, they can be a little more power metal, sometimes thrash. And of course, they wrote the whole Streets musical as well. So, it's just like they're not just prog.
That is true. That's true.
That's why I'm
That is true. I do see your point, but I do prefer Sabotage. So I'm going to go with Sabotage.
You're only going off one album, but here we go with the spin the choice wheel once again. Since this is the only fair way to do it, because we're not going to fight over which one's going to win on this.
Yes.
And I win.
You do.
Pain of Salvation is moving on. Yeah. Oh, this is going to be ridiculously hard for you.
Oh, golly gee.
I think you already know my answer here.
I do, yeah.
Nightingale versus Royal Hunt.
Yes.
Now, first, what do you think of Nightingale?
I really like Nightingale. Obviously, that's another band that you introduced me to, Mr. Dan Swano. Oh, his voice
And his brother Dag.
I didn't know about his brother Dag.
Yeah, he plays guitar in it and stuff.
Really?
And,
Okay.
the Swano brothers.
Nice.
Well, he came on later. I mean, the first Nightingale album was all Dan, and then Dag came in later.
Okay. But I absolutely love Dan's voice. I love that vampire music. I mean, essentially.
It's all vampires.
Which is right up my alley. I just love the sound of it. I love the lyrics. I thoroughly enjoy them.
And for Royal Hunt, the only band in my experience that you've actually liked from seeing them live, not checking out their albums. Because you constantly tell me it doesn't matter if you've seen them live, it doesn't matter if I play them for you, you have to listen to them by yourself for you to be able to appreciate a band.
A lot of,
Not true with Royal Hunt.
Yeah, I saw them for the first time at Prog Power.
2015.
I wasn't familiar with them. I mean, obviously I'd heard them in the lead up to Prog Power, but outside of that I wasn't familiar with them, and I absolutely love them, and I've since listened to a lot of their music, and I love their sound. I love what they do.
Well, I'm going Nightingale. I mean, I would have gone with Nightingale anyways, but I have a particular problem with Royal Hunt that I really don't get into here.
I understand. And even though I absolutely love Royal Hunt, I'm going to go Nightingale.
Wow.
I am.
I did not see that coming.
You've won me over, Mr. Swano.
Well, one of the best.
And your doppelganger.
Wow, back where I started going bald.
Even now.
And trust me, YouTube does not let me forget that I'm going bald. But Nightingale wins that one. Oh,
man.
This one's probably going to be the hardest one for you, potentially.
Ooh.
It is Nevermore versus Queensryche.
Yeah.
First, your thoughts on Nevermore.
Well, I mean, obviously we just talked about this in our last section.
Yes, we did.
Dead Heart in a Dead World is one of my favorite albums. It's amazing. And while I haven't deep dived other music from them on my own, you've played a lot for me and I really like everything that I've heard. World Dane has one of the best voices ever. Padley.
Yes.
It still doesn't seem real. Absolutely love them. Queensryche though. Oh, that's a band that I have loved since I was a youngster. I love their sound. They're my rainy day band. Anytime it rains, I listen to Queensryche because it just puts me in the best mood.
What song?
More than one. I listened to the entire album.
I was singing you up for softball.
Fine. Okay.
On a rainy day, what song do you listen to?
Of course you gotta listen to Another Rainy Day. I mean... But I love Jeff's voice, but I love, what's his name? The singer's now. Help
Peeker's
me.
Boss. What's his name?
Peeker's boss's name?
Todd Latour.
Todd Latour. I love his voice too. He is absolutely amazing.
And what about that last Queensryche album, right?
Oh, so good. So ridiculously good.
Who would have thought a band that's been around for over 40 years putting out some of their best material ever?
Yeah, they were in my top 15 last year.
Which is pretty high praise for Caesar right there.
It is. But yeah, that's me. You?
Well, as I've already established in the last segment, at least as of right now,
Yes.
Nevermore is my favorite band.
Yes.
I love every single album from the self-titled to the Obsidian Conspiracy, which
Yeah.
of course is getting the end.
Yeah.
World Dane is my favorite singer. Jeff, one of my favorite guitarists. Van Williams, even before they were my favorite band, Van Williams considered one of the most underrated drummers of all time. No
Yes.
one ever talks about how it's unless you really.
Yeah.
And Jeff Shepard, I saw do some stuff at Station 4.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it here, but
No.
I saw some stuff. Queensryche.
Yeah.
I love everything up to Empire, especially the early day stuff. I mean, Queen of the Reich is probably their best song. I know you don't agree. I mean, it's power metal before power metal was a thing.
I understand.
And then they got rock stuff like that, but how can you deny Operation Mindcrime and Empire?
Yeah.
It's like the perfect combination of albums right
Absolutely.
next to each other.
Absolutely.
And of course, the latest Queensryche album, the one that came out a couple years ago, one of their best albums, and I would
Yeah.
argue to say in their top 3 easily.
Yeah.
But the problem I have is that stretch in between Empire and the latest album,
Right.
which I can't listen to.
I know.
And I mean, Jeff Tate, he still holds up in vocals. I know a lot of people disagree, but you haven't heard him with Avantasia.
That is true.
So that's why I know you're wrong for everyone who says that he doesn't still have a voice.
Yes.
But that stretch from like Promised Land onward until the Todd Latour era, I should say, up until the Todd Latour era, stuff I can listen to.
Okay.
The Todd Latour era, I love all the albums, but latest one is just like pops.
Yeah.
Whereas Nevermore has no bad albums.
Okay.
So I have to go Nevermore.
Okay. I have to go Queensryche.
Of course you would make the choice again.
Yes.
And knowing how things normally go when it comes to all this, you're probably gonna win.
Maybe.
But maybe I will.
Who
It's a
knows?
50-50 shot. It's choice.
Spin the choice.
One of two options here. Is it going to be me? Is it going to be the Metal Faerie? Oh, and an upset victory. Nevermore comes out on
Oh
top.
man, that stinks.
Hey.
Not that Nevermore's going on, but the Queensryche is cut on the first round.
Well, you just wait because that's going to get much, much harder as I've noticed here.
I'm sure it is. Oh yeah.
Reincarnation versus Pain of Salvation.
Oh. I am going to go Reincarnation.
I am as well.
Yeah.
Whereas I love all of Reincarnation. Pain of Salvation, I love a good quarters of it.
Yeah.
Some of it is not up. All of Reincarnation is up my alley.
Yeah.
Now here comes one of the hardest ones.
Okay.
Nightingale versus Nevermore.
Oh boy.
Talk through your process. Come on.
I mean, Nightingale, vocally, I love both. Nevermore, like, it's the one album that I absolutely love, holds a lot of meaning to me. Other albums that I know could, but I just haven't gotten as into yet on my own. Nightingale, I love the content, but maybe it doesn't have as deep a meaning for me, because it's about vampires, which is very cool and interesting and
Love
stuff.
vampires.
I do love vampires. I'm gonna go Nevermore.
Wow.
I am.
Well, I already said Nevermore's my favorite band.
Yeah.
And, Nightingale is up there as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do have to go with Nevermore as well because of what I just said.
Yeah.
And now, here we go for the left side of the bracket, just to make things extremely, extremely hard. Reincarnation versus Nevermore.
Nevermore. That Heart in a Dead World just has so much meaning compared to Reincarnation's work.
Alright, I have to go Nevermore as well.
Yeah.
But this is just the left side of the bracket.
It is.
Whereas the right side has some of your favorite bands.
I know.
And that's...
Oh, yeah.
And just remember, they're gonna have to fight Nevermore on the right side.
I know.
If they make it to the end.
Yes.
But yes, Nevermore, Reincarnation. But here we go.
Ooh.
Another tough one here. Old time love, Evergrey versus New Infatuation, Fate's Warning.
So Evergrey, I will say their last few albums I haven't gotten as into. Not that I think they're bad, they just haven't grabbed me like their older stuff, but their older stuff I love. I love Tom England. He has so much soul and pain in that voice. Musically, I love them. They hold a lot of meaning to me.
And we saw them acoustically.
We saw them acoustically and regular as well.
Regulars,
yeah.
But I know the exact much more to you.
And I met Tom. I got a picture with him, which was one of the happiest days of my life.
You almost ran him
and
over hard.
I did. When we were leaving the underground parking at Prog Power, he was walking by, and like as I was driving up there, he like pretended like he got hit and like jumped out of the way and stuff. It was hilarious. He is hilarious. He is so nice.
If only we had the hindsight foresight be able to record that happen.
I know. He is such a sweetheart.
But you're your new puppy dog love of Fate's
Warning.
Warning.
I know. Ray Elder is my new boyfriend, and Fate's Warning. I mean, I've only listened to the one album on my own so far, but I absolutely love it. And
Yet you've seen a full album
yeah.
of Fate's Warning
Well, that is
in
true.
the John Arch era.
The John Arch era. I definitely feel like the Ray Elder work is more up my alley than the John Arch era. So with that, I mean, both bands have some that I am not as into, but I'm gonna go Evergrey just because as of right now they have way more meaning for me, and there's more of their work that I'm into.
This is probably gonna be the hardest one.
I understand.
I discovered Fate's Warning and Evergrey roughly at the same time.
Yeah.
Recreation Day is still one of my favorite albums of all time. It basically that I thought about music.
Absolutely.
And so did Fate's Warning.
Yeah.
I mean, you take an album like Parallels, should have been a top 40 album. I know it's proggy, but Dream Theater was on top 40 rock radio as well. They technically are a one-hit wonder.
I love their greatest hit plus 20 other great songs.
Yeah. I love the John Arch era. I love the Ray Elder era.
Yeah.
I love the Kevin Moore era when he was doing good stuff.
Yeah.
After he left Dream Theater. This is so hard.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see either fail.
I know.
So I'm gonna go Fate's Warning
And let
Fate, otherwise known as the AI computer, decide which one's gonna win.
Yes, I
Because
understand.
I can't make the wrong choice if the computer does it for me.
It's true.
And I won't be disappointed either of these if they make through. They both every win. And wouldn't you know it, in another upset victory.
All right.
The Metal Faerie wins this round. It is Evergrey
Upset victory.
beating out Fate's Warning. Gotta make it interesting. Like, come
I
on.
know.
Oh, this one should be pretty easy for you. Mirath versus Dream Theater.
Yes.
Mirath.
Mirath, I adore Mirath. Like, I got into them around the time we went to Prog Power because they were gonna play the next Prog Power.
I showed them to you about well before then.
Yeah, but I don't
because
think
I just got in a promo at the time and
Yeah.
discovering them at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if I got into them like super duper till a little bit later, but yeah, I love them. They're like a mix of prog and power and kind of that Middle Eastern folk again. And vocally, I absolutely love Zahar's voice, and they're just so unique. I absolutely love them. And Dream Theater, I love the astonishing.
Yes. Let it be known round the world. The Metal Faerie's favorite Dream Theater album is The Astonishing.
Yes.
Not images and words.
No.
Not scenes from memory.
No.
It is The Astonishing.
Yes, it is. And we got to see it full live. It was...
We got $20 tickets.
We did, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I do like select other songs from them, probably off of, I can't remember what albums they're off of. You could tell me better than I could, but...
If you could tell me the names of the songs, I'd be able to tell
Well, Pull Me Under, of course,
Images
I
and
do
Words.
like. So I think it's Images and Words is probably my other like second favorite album from them.
Yeah.
But there's a lot from them that I haven't listened to on my own, and that just really isn't up my alley as much, I don't think.
Explain why.
They're a little...
You know why.
A little wankery for me. Wanky. Yeah, they're wanky. So I'm gonna go Mirath.
I'm going Dream Theater.
I understand.
I love Mirath.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed them to you.
Yes.
And especially with Mike Portnoy back in the band for Dream Theater, they're always going to be very near and dear to me.
Absolutely.
The Mangini era, I realized just wasn't my bag. I need Mike Portnoy back in.
I understand.
It took me a long time to realize that. I thought I just grew out of him.
Yeah.
But turns out that wasn't really the case. It was just magic. The songwriting process of Trucci, Ma Young, Portnoy, or some people like pronounce Porn Toy, if you had dyslexia. Spin the choice wheel. What do we got here? Yes, I win.
All right.
Dream Theater rightfully defeating and vanquishing Mirath.
Ouch.
Just like General Zod in Superman, that little glass thing that goes to the universe, like pushing him into the glass and into a new reality and shifting through the universe. Dream Theater wins.
Ouch.
Haha. Devin Townsend versus Seventh Wonder.
So Devin, I mean, after we talked about already in this episode, but I love Strapping and Glad, not Prog. Well, Prog elements. But
There's Prog element. What do you even call Strap Lad? The only thing that I've seen that really fits is extreme metal.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing that I can see that fits.
Yeah. Obviously the album for today's Accountability was the first one that I've deep dived on my own, but I have heard a lot through you, and I've seen him multiple times.
You've seen him like 3 times.
Yeah.
And nothing stuck with you, even with Annika.
I know.
Annika!
I know. I love Annika. I love her.
I was trying to think you don't.
I do. Then there's Seventh Wonder, who I love love Tommy's voice. I haven't deep dived with Seventh Wonder either, though.
I don't think you checked out one of their full albums, have you?
The one from last year I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were on my top 30.
Oh, yeah, they were. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Well, the other stuff.
Yeah. Outside of that, though, I haven't deep dived with anything. Just random
That was 2
songs.
years.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem right.
Behold the ravages of age.
Ravages of age. I don't know who to go with. I'll go Devin just because there is stuff in his discography that I love.
I'm also gonna be Devin as well. I consider Seventh Wonder to be more of a power metal band than a prog band, although they are a progressive power metal band.
Yeah.
And I also hate the fact that Tommy took a spiritual journey away from Seventh Heaven. Sorry, Seventh Wonder. Although he's closer to Seventh Heaven now.
Yeah.
Anyways, Devin Townsend winning this one, and this one is gonna rip me to shreds, as I already know it's the battle of the X's.
Yeah.
Symphony X versus King's X.
Oh.
Now, I already know who you're gonna choose, but why don't you go ahead and talk about Symphony X?
Symphony X, I mean, they're definitely a mix of rock and power, I would say, especially depending on what album you go with. I thoroughly love their sound. I love voice. I really like them a lot. But King's X, on the other hand, you introduced me to, and I've definitely gone into them more as time has gone on. Kind of like you've said, the older you get, the more you get into them. I feel like I'm kind of the same boat. They're wearing off on me more and more.
Yes.
Like, especially their ballads. Like,
they write some of the best ballads.
He can sing a freaking ballad.
Goldilocks, Over and Over.
Yes.
Summerland. There's so many.
Yeah. So good. You?
I love Symphony X, but I don't love every album.
I understand.
Well, you're kind of in the same boat as that too. Like, everything after Paradise Lost is not up your bag, I've noticed.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's gotten too proggy for you, and that's why you haven't gotten into it. I love when it's the balance of the power and the stuff, and I think that really ended with Paradise Lost.
Yeah, I can see that.
Whereas King's X, I love every album except for a couple.
Yeah.
And one is a besides album, so that shouldn't even count.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you've said, every year I love King's X or more, and they will eventually be my favorite band.
I understand.
When we record the show, I look at my wall tapestry of King's X I got from the show that we went to.
Yes.
I got to meet them once again.
Yes.
But I went and saw them first, and then I wasn't allowed back into the venue.
Yeah.
And I said, I just wanted to come in and get a tapestry. I didn't want to come back into the show.
Yeah.
Because it was already over.
Yeah.
I just wanted to buy that. Thankfully, the security let me go in and buy that.
Yeah.
And then had to stand on that very creepy corner where I felt like I was about to get mugged until you got the car around.
I
because
remember
I was
that.
meeting King's X.
I took a wrong turn down a one-way.
Yeah.
It was a bad night
That was a whole
after
disaster. Not the worst concert experience driving back.
Well, that
you've
is
had,
true.
But,
That is true.
It's up there.
Yeah.
But I have to go King's X.
I understand. I have to go Symphony X just because of my history as of right now, but that could change in the future.
It could. But once again, we have to spin the choice.
We do.
What are we? Oh, that one pains me, but I also understand why.
Yeah.
Symphony X beats out King's X.
Yep.
The Battle of the X's.
The Battle of the X's.
Now things are going to get even more interesting.
Yes, they are.
Evergrey versus Dream Theater.
Oh, I'm going Evergrey.
Don't want to have to be lying on the spin the deal.
I know.
I feel like I have to go Evergrey.
Yeah.
Because there are some Evergrey albums that I don't dig.
Yeah.
But there's more Dream Theater albums that I don't dig.
Yeah.
And again, sadly, it is the Mangini era.
Yeah.
Which lasted over a decade. Whereas the Evergrey stuff that I don't necessarily enjoy as much is about 3 albums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just from proxy alone, I have to go Evergrey.
Okay.
It's ever since never.
Oh.
Oh, where's it gonna go? Devin Townsend versus Symphony X.
I'm going Symphony X.
I'm going Devin. There's no way we can't do the spin the choice wheel on this one.
Yeah.
And we could just argue to the death
We could.
on this one.
We
Or
could.
we could just leave it up to the machine.
Yeah.
Pink Floyd had a song called Welcome Gene, probably about this. What do we got here? Oh! Devin wins. Fatality.
Fatality.
Now, looks like we're gonna have to use it again.
Yeah, I'm going Evergrey.
Evergrey versus Devin Townsend, going up against the mighty Nevermore.
Yes.
You're going Evergrey. I'm going Devin.
Okay.
I feel like you're gonna win this just because of the odds of all this, but
Yeah.
it's the same amount of odds, so I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
But here we go again. Hopefully the last time that we have to spin it, but I don't. What do we got here? Oh!
Oh, it has been your night with the
It
wheel.
has been my night. right.
So
But
Devin.
here we go. Devin Townsend wins the right side, and we get Nevermore versus Devin Townsend.
I'm going Nevermore.
Explain your reasoning.
Way more meaning for me.
Just with one album.
Just with one album. And I mean, obviously I've heard more from you, and same with Devin, you know, I've heard more from you, but that one album has way more meaning than anything from Dev for me. And his voice. Oral Dane's voice, I
Devin's
love.
voice.
It's
They
great.
can both hit the same notes and
Fine,
stuff.
but Oral Dane just had a pain in his voice that...
Oh, like Devin's voice.
Not like Oral did. Not like Oral did.
You haven't heard Alien enough, apparently.
Well, it's where I'm at.
See, I say all this stuff,
Yeah.
and I am picking Nevermore as well.
I do it.
I mean, like I've said, favorite band, favorite singer,
Yes.
all this stuff.
Yes.
And again, more Nevermore albums I like, and there's a few Devin Townsend albums I don't like
Yeah.
when he does his very ambient stuff. And
Yeah.
Empath, I came out at a time when I was going surgery and laid up,
yeah.
so I couldn't really enjoy the album the way a lot of other people probably did.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, in a very shocking turn of events, our Prog choice here, the Heavy Debrief, is the almighty Nevermore. So, what do you think, folks? Did we go through the right decision? Did we make the wrong decision here? What bands should we have had, despite Metal Faerie not being as familiar with them? All of these choices and more. What did you? And thank you very much for tuning into the week this. But before we go, we gotta pick out a topic for next week.
Yes.
And I'm actually gonna add a couple more here that we actually talked about on the show here, and some stuff that I talked about before. So yeah, well, give it a tick, even though it's gonna be instantaneous for you. All right, we're back. Even though you didn't notice it, I'm gonna shuffle things up here, and here we go one more time with spinning the choice.
All right.
Yes, we rely on machinery too much. What do you think of all of this? Oh, we're going into some nerd culture here
we
this time around. Based on us picking up our comic books and stuff like this,
Yes.
we are going to be going into our favorite superheroes / supervillains.
Yes.
Or anti-heroes.
Going to bed.
Yes, favorite superheroes and villains. I know yours is basically going to be based off of mainly movies and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it.
I'll be going from other sources as well, but there's no wrong way to get into supervillains.
That is true.
Just to prepare for next week, what are your favorite superheroes, supervillains, and anti-heroes? We'll be thinking about that next week. So now we're going to be going into the world of what we've been enjoying this week, and I'm going to go ahead and let you know right away. We haven't been able to enjoy that much because I've been horrible mentally and you've been sick. That's right, it's what we've been enjoying.
Good news, everyone!
It's time to let you know what we've been enjoying.
Don't you have some friends your own age? Someone to drink with? Maybe a girlfriend?
Talking about TV, movies, video games, wrestling, even music.
Can't you see you're not making rock and roll better? You're just making rock and roll worse.
Alright, so in this venture of everything, just a couple things, really.
Yeah.
Where are we starting with all this?
Let's start with what we've been gaming on.
Okay, you
So
first,
on
me first.
my end, I can start. On my end, I had the next chapter of Love Island, the game. This week was kind of boring. It was a lot of dealing with a lot of the other contestants' drama, which is really kind of a cheap way of the writers, writing a chapter because they don't have to write anything for you to be dealing with yourself, and it's just kind of lackluster. I did start another round of Skyrim though.
Did you now?
I did.
And you're not changing anything at all with your character, are you?
I always say I'm going to, but then I never do.
No one does.
I know.
Anyone who says they do is a liar.
I know. I'm always like, okay, this round I'm going to actually learn how to do potions and enchanting and stuff like that. And I never get into that. I'm always my stealthy archer, and that's who I am, a thief.
I'm always a barbarian type.
Yeah.
Or a Nord, if
Yes,
you will.
yes.
I just like dealing with the swords and the battle axes and all that stuff. That's just
Yep.
the kind of person that I am.
I understand.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Fallout. It's like, oh, I could do all these different types of things, and I'm never going to.
No.
You never do, because you fall into the old traits. Like,
Yes.
oh, this worked for me before. Oh, I should have that. Oh, I should do... you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just do the same thing.
I'm just going to steal this lump of cheese.
Yes, which you can steal from both games.
That is true.
And sweet rolls.
That is true.
And there's even sweet rolls in Starfield as well.
Oh.
And cheese.
Oh, well, there we go.
But you'll never play Starfield.
Yeah.
And once you know it, it's not just because it's not going to be on the Switch, it's because of the flying mechanics. You don't like flying in games.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, let's just be honest here.
Yeah,
You don't like flying.
I'll be honest.
I started off playing Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged, beat it without even knowing it.
Yes, I went fast.
And riddled with microtransactions.
Yeah.
Just riddled to the brim.
It was.
So, it was fun to get my mind out of the Yakuza series for a while.
That's true. That's true.
Something that's different from I guess technically a JRPG.
Yeah.
For a couple hours before jumping right into another JRPG with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes.
Of course, this is a spiritual successor to the Final Fantasy original series on the PlayStation.
Yes.
Because there's some stuff that happens in Final Fantasy VII Remake that makes it its own thing.
Yeah.
And Rebirth is the actions of that happening, and things that you expect to happen don't happen, and things that you don't expect to happen do happen.
Yeah.
And more.
Yes.
And I'm learning more and more of that as it goes on. It is a little wackadoo, kind of just like the Kingdom Hearts stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of people said it's very hard to follow this time around.
Yeah.
Remake was easier to follow. Rebirth is very hard to follow.
Gotcha.
It's fun to play. It's really good looking as well.
Oh yeah.
There's a card game on there, Queen's Blood, that I've been doing, which I've been winning games and I don't know how I'm winning, but I am. I'm not a card gamer.
Yeah.
We kind of talked about this a couple nights ago. Like, if I would have had friends growing up, I might have gotten into, like, Magic the Gathering or
D&D.
Or D&D. Well, that's not really a card game, but
okay.
that's a dice game and role-playing and
so
stuff.
much I know about it.
Yeah. Well, just like those kinds of games.
Yeah.
I could have been more of a nerd like that.
Yeah.
Like when Bobby joins up with all the witches in Ireland.
How old are you? 40? 50?
Not even close. I am 5,000. Today, Merlin!
Oh, gosh, I love that episode.
I do too. But, that's not the life I led, so
No.
I'm not as well versed in it, and I'm enjoying the game.
The baby chocobos are adorable.
The chocobos are cute, the bigger chocobos are cute, but the baby chocobos are just adorable.
Yes. Oh,
It reminds me of Foghorn Leghorn's nephew.
oh yeah. Chicken Little.
Yeah,
I know. He's so cute.
It's so cute. But, the Final Fantasy stuff, I enjoy playing it. I'm not in the fan club.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I'm a fan, but I am enjoying it.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see where the rest of it goes. I just finished up chapter 5 as we were recording this.
Yeah.
And that had a big old Queen's Blood card game tournament on there on the cruise ship. That's not giving anything away.
No.
Even if I did give it away, people would be, what are you talking about? I don't even understand what's going on.
Exactly.
Oh, you must be a Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yes, exactly.
The reason I keep bringing that up, in case you're not familiar at all with Kingdom Hearts, is it's Final Fantasy and Disney mixed together.
Yes.
So that's why I keep bringing it up.
Yes.
But, I'm enjoying it so far. It's been an escape from my mind lately.
Yeah.
But, there's been some other stuff we've been checking out as well.
Yeah, well, we did watch the Xbox third-party development thing.
Yeah, it was basically like a little showcase. It was like a half hour, I think.
Yeah, there was
20-30 minutes.
There's a few games that were of interest, that piqued our interest a little bit. First, there was Sleight of Hand.
Sleight of Hand.
I know that one was about, like, witches, and I can't remember exactly what all went down
It's
there,
in
but
third person.
yeah.
It's a stealth game about 1930s noir.
Yeah.
And it's about witches. So it's right up your alley.
Stealth,
witches, all of it, third person, all of that is you.
That is true. So we might have to check that one out when it comes out.
And it might be on Game Pass.
It could be.
It didn't say it was, but it didn't say it wasn't either.
Yeah, they didn't really specify which of them would be on Game Pass and whatnot, but up next there was Alters, which remind me kind of Sims, but like a very like in your head type of one.
Oh, it was basically if The Sims had crises like I do.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And the idea of like going back to your past self and making changes and stuff and seeing how different you would have been.
Yeah.
But it's also like The Sims where you're building things and you're learning things, and it's an existential crisis in the Sims universe.
Kind of, yeah.
So what did you think of that?
I thought it was definitely an interesting premise. I mean, like I said a little bit ago, I do love The Sims, but This was a different take on it though, for sure. So I'm curious what it'll end up being like when it gets, further along and out there and stuff. So
Sure.
we'll see. Up next, there was an expansion announced, Refill X Chucky, which is an expansion to Roblox.
Yes, an adults-only game in a kids-only game.
Yes.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I was super excited when I saw Chucky because there's never been a Chucky game before, and I love me some horror, obviously.
Why has there never been a Chucky game?
It
I
would
don't
be
understand
perfect.
this.
Yeah.
And the idea that you could play as Chucky.
Yeah.
That's how you should do it.
Yes. But of course, we don't play Roblox, so
It is free to play, though.
it is free, so maybe something to think about at some
And,
point.
of course, riddled with microtransactions.
Yes.
So, you get
Well,
what
that
you
is
pay
true.
for, I guess.
That is true. But it's interesting to see Chucky at least.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't look the best.
Oh no, it looked terrible.
Yeah, but screw it, Chucky.
It's true. And then finally, the Stalker original trilogy is going to be coming out.
It's already out.
It's already out? Okay.
Yeah, it's available on Xbox and PlayStation.
All right.
Stalker 2 will be on Xbox exclusively through Game Pass and stuff.
Okay.
But it is available on PlayStation as well. These are games I've always wanted to play but never got to.
Yeah.
They were PC only to begin with, and they kind of deal with like the Chernobyl stuff, with the toxic waste, Cold War, toxic Holocaust kind of stuff. And I wish I knew more about it, but they were games that I've always been interested in, and maybe at some point.
Yeah,
I don't know how much they're going for.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out, but it looked super interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm still deep in the heart of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Exactly. So moving on from gaming, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the news segment, we did watch Dynamite this week.
Yes, we did. We should mention that we did watch the Go Home episode of Dynamite.
That is true.
We were ready to give up.
Yeah. It was just, I wanted to watch Sting's final match, which was on Sunday. So we watched the Go Home show for that, just to kind of see if anything happened, to kind of refamiliarize ourselves with everything going on, see if there was anything we missed. Not really much we had missed. And then we watched
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. And then of course we watched Revolution. We talked about that in the last episode. But then we decided to watch Dynamite this week because I was feeling sick, and it's like, why not throw it on?
Well, it was supposed to be the new chapter of AEW.
Exactly.
And it is a new chapter.
It is.
New aesthetics.
Yes.
They kind of went back with the color splotches like they did in the beginning.
Yeah.
Although that was more of like explosions of color and stuff like this. This is more like paint
kind of
stuff. And
Yeah.
they changed the logo.
They did.
I thought it was way cooler to begin with.
Yeah.
Now it kind of just looks like AEW in bubble format.
Kind of.
And they brought back the tunnels.
They did.
So you know who's a heel and who's a babyface.
Exactly, because it's hard to keep track of,
Yes, because they never switch, or no one's ever a tweener or anything like that.
Exactly.
But of course, the Young Bucks come up to the center as
Yes,
well, because
yes.
they are the EVPs.
Yes.
But there was a couple things that did happen on Dynamite.
There was.
Let's get the negative out of the way. There was a lot of negative.
There was some
There
negatives.
was a lot of boring, terrible things
Yeah.
that are going on in AEW.
Yeah.
But the problem is I hate AEW more now.
I know.
And there's one specific reason.
Yeah.
I was ready to give it all up.
Yes.
But
yes.
then they added a couple things to drag me back in.
I know, right?
And what were those things?
Well, the biggest one is Okada finally came over.
Kazuchika Okada
Yes.
is in AEW.
Yes, he left New Japan and he is in AEW.
Now, this goes back to the Bucks of Youth.
Yes.
They fired Kenny Omega from the Elite.
Yes.
But if you look at all the wrestling news sites, it says Kenny's been fired.
I know, it's so stupid.
Like, intentional clickbait, and it just drives me up the friggin' wall.
Absolutely.
Hangman has been suspended from the Elite.
Yes.
Apparently some real life stuff is going on with family matters. That's why
Okay.
he's not gonna be around for a while.
I get you.
Not specified what's going on, just family things.
Yeah.
Which is sad to see.
Yeah.
But they were doing all this stuff, and Eddie Kingston just comes out of nowhere and starts
Yeah.
verbally fighting with the Young Bucks.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden, you hear some change hit the ground.
Yeah.
And once you know it, Kazuchika Okada
The Rainmaker. Rainmaker.
The Rainmaker. And of course, we're talking the Money Rain.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he comes out and he starts holding Eddie Kingston back.
Yes.
Because he's about to fight the Bucks. And it's like, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Or
Right.
so it seems.
Yes.
Then he hits the Rainmaker on Eddie Kingston.
I know.
And it turns out that Okada is now in the Elite.
Yes.
And we seem to be the only two people excited about this.
I know.
Everyone else seems to be so mad about this, and I don't understand why. Because when he leaves the Elite, he's going to be the biggest babyface in AEW.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I've seen so many people who are just could not care less that Okada is there. Like,
Oh, great,
what?
another foreign, as I've seen people say.
Oh,
Like,
jeez.
It's just like, oh, you want to talk about racism?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Did you see what's going on with Bianca Belair? Well, she's on the cover of 2K24, like I think
Yeah.
on the special edition.
Yeah.
Along with Rhea Ripley. The racists have come out of the woodwork, showing their disdain for Bianca Belair being on the cover.
Oh, jeez.
And I'll give you all the money in the world if you can't figure out why they're upset with Bianca Belair being on the cover.
Ugh,
Yeah, it
gross.
gives wrestling fans a really bad name, as if they
Yes.
didn't already have a bad name.
Yeah. Ugh.
It's just showing all the stuff from before.
Yes.
But there's another thing that is really keeping our interest.
Well, a couple things, but yeah, up next, obviously, Will Ospreay.
Well, that's where I was going to be
Yeah.
going, and I was going to be talking about the Sky Assassin himself.
Yes.
Will Ospreay. Match of the last couple years.
Yeah.
Happened at Revolution, where he took on Takeshita.
Yes.
Even though no one takes his opinion seriously anymore, Dave Meltzer gave it a 5.25 star rating.
Yes.
Which has been like first 5-star in like a
long
long
time.
time. Well, he keeps getting stuff wrong all the time. That's why no one can trust him anymore.
That is true.
I
that
think
is
people
true.
are feeding him bad information, and he reports it as true, and he doesn't care because it gets all the clicks.
It's true. It's true.
That's why I don't like talking about stuff until it happens.
Exactly.
But he also had another great match on Dynamite against his former Empire member, Kyle Fletcher.
Yes.
Who was part of Aussie Open. Apparently his tag team partner is out with injury of some kind. But they put on a really, really great match.
It was amazing. Like, that's definitely the best match that's been on Dynamite in a long time.
And what makes it work so well is it really feels like Ospreay is like bringing out the best in everyone he fights.
Yes.
Where, like, did you care about Takeshita before last Sunday?
Not really.
Exactly. But you saw what he could do in the ring.
Yes.
Same with
yes.
Kyle Fletcher. Did you care about Aussie Open? Did
No.
you care about Kyle Fletcher?
Not at all.
But you saw him fight Will Ospreay, and you could see everything that he's capable of.
Yeah, Will Ospreay is just such a different caliber that, like, people have to kind of rise to his level in order to make it a
good match.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, otherwise it's just going to look terrible.
Yes.
So he brings out the best in everybody.
And I feel like Okada could be the same way, too.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally going to happen. Well, if he doesn't knock out Adam Cole again and him out for a year.
Well, there's that.
But, are we going to get Kenny versus Okada 5?
Oh, I sure hope so.
Well, first time in AEW, but I think it's going to happen.
I think so,
And
too.
I think it's going to be oversaturated as well.
Yeah.
Because AEW loves doing their rematches nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be no rematches.
Yeah.
Now it's just these blood feuds that never end.
Yes. Yeah.
Taking the WWE thing. And I first noticed that when we got back into wrestling, when we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles, a match everybody wanted because it was at Wrestle Kingdom. Then they did it in WWE, and it was a good match.
Yeah.
Then they did it like 8 or 9 times after.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody cared anymore.
No.
And I feel like AEW is doing that with a lot of feuds. But
Totally.
at least right now, you know, with bringing in some New Japan guys, well, former New Japan guys. Sadly, Tamatonga is going to WWE, but
Yeah. Meh.
But you said there was a little bit more from the Dynamite stuff.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, and Kyle O'Reilly came back on Sunday as well, and he just did an interview.
Well, we talked about that on the show.
Yeah, and he just did an interview on Wednesday, but kind of clarified, like, why he's going on his own, because, you know, it's hard to know which direction where to go, and, you know, sometimes it's good going with your friends, but since he has kind of a second chance
You
and
have
stuff.
to explain this for people who don't know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
if you didn't watch and if you didn't listen,
you have to do that line.
if you didn't watch and you didn't listen to our last show, because we did talk about it on our last show, on Revolution, Kyle O'Reilly came out and came into the ring when what's their faction called?
Undisputed Empire.
The Undisputed Empire was in there, and they kind of had a loving moment,
Kingdom.
but Undisputed Kingdom.
Sorry.
Had a little bit of loving moment. They tried to give him a t-shirt, but he handed it back and kind of left the ring and did his own thing. And this week he clarified in an interview that, well, he's friends with them and, sometimes that can go good. Kind of feeling like he has a second chance, second lease on life almost in a way, that he needs to do this on his own this time and kind of see where that goes. So I'm curious to see where he goes. Yeah.
I don't even know if he's cleared yet.
Well,
is the thing.
That's true. That's true.
And apparently in an Instagram post, he pointed out that he wasn't cleared yet.
Oh, okay.
And when I watched the media scrum, Tony Khan just completely avoided the question.
Well, that's what he does for everything now,
Yeah,
it seems
I know,
like, but yeah.
Well, that was the point I was going to be making.
Mm-hmm.
You cut me off. But is he going to be doing like a manager thing? Is he going to be actually wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird seeing him with shaggy hair because you're so used to seeing him with the buzz cut.
I know.
and of course, the little diabetic
Yes.
insulin thing on his arm.
Yes, represent you.
Represent yo.
But moving on from wrestling, we did check out a couple new singles for videos that were put out this week. There was a new Dark Tranquility song that was put out.
You didn't write it down, did you?
I did not.
Well, it's called The Last Imagination.
Yes, that was the name of it. What'd you think of it?
Oh, no.
Me
You're
first?
going first
Okay.
on this because I thought I loved Dark Tranquility, but it turns out you love them even more, so...
It's definitely a different feel than their last album. I feel like I feel like I need to hear more from the album to get a good feel on what direction they're really going in this album. We were talking about, like, you had mentioned or brought up to me again that they had lost a lot of their members of the band, so things have changed a little bit in their band. So I'm just curious kind of what they're trying to say with this album, I guess.
Well, 3/5 of the band is brand new.
Yeah. So it wasn't bad, but it just...
I mean, Michael and Martin are the only original members of the
Those
band.
only two now? Okay.
Well, Michael's the only... Well, not even... there's no original members,
No.
honestly. If we
Yeah.
if we want to call a spade here, because Anders Freeman was the original lead singer of Dark Tranquility.
Yeah.
And Michael Stane was the original lead singer of In Flames.
Yeah.
And then they did the drummer swap, but the vocal swap.
That's true.
Where they switched bands. So, like, I mean, if you want to go with, like, the first real album, yes, Michael Stane is the only member left from that.
Yeah.
You could say the same thing with Opeth. There's no original members.
Yeah.
Even though on the first album, Michael Akerfeld was the lead and everything, he was not the original member of the band.
Yeah.
But, yeah, when pretty much almost all of your band quits, it's going to change the sound.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a lot darker. Dark Tranquility. It's more doomy.
Yeah.
A little more soundscapey as well. It's still got some of that Swedish Melodeath vibe going on. I mean, they're always gonna have something like that in their sound.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a very odd choice as the first single.
I would agree with that.
Because there's a winning formula that has been done since at least the 80s. You do the fast, heavy song first.
Yes.
You do the slower song second.
Yeah.
It's a winning formula.
No, I agree. And that makes me concerned, like, what if the rest of the album is like this too?
Well, it'd be up my alley since I really don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I know it takes away what you love about them.
That's true.
So, yeah, there's that going on. But, in very shocking news when I woke up this morning,
Yes.
brand new Flesh God Apocalypse with Pendulum.
Yes.
Is this off of a new album? Is this off of an EP? From what I've gathered, it's a standalone single.
Okay.
But they could be withholding information, so don't hold me accountable for that.
Yeah.
I'm just going off the press release.
Yeah.
But basically slapping you over the face with the fact that it's about Francesco's taste with mortality.
Yeah. Like, the video it's beautiful, but it's slapping you right in the face. Like, he is hanging literally from a rope in the video, and his band members are beating him essentially. And,
all of them.
Yeah, but it's a gorgeous video though.
What'd you think of the song though?
But the song, yeah, I'm getting into that. Like, I love Flesh God. They incorporate so many things I love. Like, I will say it was a little more jolty, but I think that's fitting for the topic at hand because it was such a crazy thing for him to go through, this life and death experience, that it would kind of create those emotions in yourself. So I think it's fitting for that topic.
Well, and when it's called Pendulum, it's like it's going from one side to the other. So,
That is
when
true.
it has all of that. So
That is
it
true.
makes sense.
That is true. So it makes sense for that, but it still has the, obviously the symphonic elements, Veronica's voice, like she definitely has a bigger part in it now.
She's doing like normal cleans on this one now too,
Yeah,
which I am not used to hear. I am just used to hearing her do the operatic stuff.
I know, but I love her voice. She sounded amazing in it, and there was actually like piano and guitar like solos that were like focused on in the video. Which
you don't hear many piano solos in Flesh God.
No, you don't.
Like, you might hear some piano flourishes, but you never hear him actually do a solo.
Exactly. So that was really cool to see, and I'm hoping for an album, but we'll see what happens.
I can't imagine that this song represents the new album.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is kind of just like a standalone song.
I could see that.
Like, no.
Yeah.
It's also the first thing that they've written since the accident.
That's true. It's true.
So I imagine that is going to come into play maybe thematically, but I can't imagine musically it's just going to be like shifting all the time like that. I think they know where their bread is buttered.
Yeah.
With their symphonic death metal sound. They're not going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the song. The video's great, and just seeing him just like get beat up by the rest of the band.
I know.
It's just like you almost killed the band and yourself because you were rock climbing.
Right. Yeah.
I know that's not the point, but when you watch it, if you look at it from that context, it does give you a giggle.
It is true.
Of course, there's some other albums that have come out in recent times. Last week, Bruce Dickinson had the Mandrake Project. Not your Mandrake. You take Ed Guy when it comes to that.
That is right.
Today, Judas Priest of Invincible Shield came out.
Yes.
Haven't listened to it.
Nope.
But we decided to go into a bit of a different direction with Out Today and What I Missed. And since I mentioned it, why don't we go into the final part of this show?
Yeah.
Which, of course, is Out Today and What I Missed.
Now here are some of your no-name bands.
And now it's time for Out Today and What I Missed.
People either loved us or they hated us, or they thought we were okay.
With Metal Faerie checks out the albums that came out this past Friday.
Where can I find the latest releases?
And anything else that came out before that.
I just heard them on the King Biscuit Flower Hour.
What will she like or hate this time? So, as usual when it comes to this segment, I've already talked about my thoughts on all of these albums, and you can go check that out in written form at heavydebriefings.weebly.com, where I go into more detailed, more polished thoughts on everything, or you can check out my one-take, 1-minute reviews, or less, in YouTube Shorts, or in all of them combined together in the Out Today and What I Missed full video, which I put a lot of effort into this week, so I really hope you check that out, because I put a lot of effort into it, and it seems like no one's checking it out.
I have watched it and it's good. I can attest to the fact you should listen to it.
Oh, thank you. And of course, you might also notice that I did a little bit of rebranding as well. I changed things up. I actually went back to the old That Drummer Guy days and took the Exploding Eddie Skull, which has been transformed enough for me not to get sued, and I'm using that as the Heavy Debriefings logo.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the perfect shot that I took when we went to go see Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
When Eddie's head exploded, I took the picture at the right time, and you could just see it explode.
Yes.
It was just perfect.
It was.
But yes, 10 new albums we're talking about. I believe it's 5 and it is 5 and 5 this week. 5 that came out technically today as we're recording this. So again, at least for this week, we're on and not lying when we're talking about Out Today.
Yes.
And 5 that I missed along the way. First, we're talking about the Toronto band Apogene with Cyberstrictive. This is in the tech death vein. Former singer of Crosis started this band up, and if you know anything about the label The Artisan Era, you know that they specialize in tech death and tech death accessories. So this is a tech death album.
Yes.
What did you think?
It wasn't for me. I'm not a tech death person, and it was definitely a little bit of wankiness going on, and
well, it kind of gives it away when it's technical.
Exactly. And I felt like the harsh vocals were kind of sloppy. So.
All right. Next up, we have the originators of groove metal, Exorder, back with their 4th album, and that is 4th album since 1990 when they put out their first album, Defectum Omnium. If you're not familiar with them, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. They were Pantera before Pantera became the bro band.
Yeah.
They were doing all this stuff, but instead of the redneck, white trash Pantera stuff that they do, Exorder was a lot more about like calling the Catholic Church out on all the terrible things they were doing, like Sinead O'Connor and many other left-leaning stuff.
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to sway you in the right direction, did it?
While I can definitely appreciate lyrically what they're going for, yeah, it still had that Pantera-y sound to me. It just reminded me.
But it's not Pantera, it's their own sound.
I get it, but it still reminded me.
Pantera took it from them.
It still reminded me of some 60-year-old guy with a leather jacket and his Pantera patch grooving and his drunkenness at some show, you know?
I'm just saying, you know.
I know.
It's the one example that I can give where the originator is better than the one that came after.
Well, I'm not saying they're not better than Pantera, but...
Well, I was saying it from my own thoughts.
Yeah.
I much prefer Exhorder over Pantera.
Oh, for sure,
That's not even an option.
Yeah.
Going into a completely different direction here, we have Gost with his Metal Blade Records debut Prophecy. This goes into so many different kinds of territory. It's 80s synthwave, it's horror soundtrack, it's industrial metal, it's extreme metal, but to me, it all works.
Yeah.
What did you think?
It's such an odd mix, but I really enjoyed it. I would definitely prefer some vocals over it, just because...
But where would you even put vocals over
I
it?
don't even know, but I love a good line I can sing along to. But I appreciate, like, how much it would be perfect for a horror soundtrack.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. Like, you could put this album on when you're gaming and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I think, like, Cyberpunk would be perfect to put this on during, and
Totally.
it just really match the atmosphere.
Absolutely.
And the ambience.
The ambience.
Yeah, this is a great album, and I know a lot of metalheads are very upset with this because it's not metal enough. It's a one-man project that features a lot of electronics and boards and stuff.
Ugh.
I think they're missing out.
My eyes are rolling back in my head.
And makes me wish that back in December we would have saw them opening for Catatonia at the Fine Line. But
yeah.
We don't have fun anymore. We do that. This is our fun. The podcast is
This
fun.
is our date night.
This is fun for me. And speaking of fun,
Yes.
we're going into the black and roll fun
Yes.
with probably the leaders of black and roll, black thrash, and of course that great old heavy rock and roll feel, Midnight with Hellish Expectations.
Yeah.
A 25.5-minute LP, which was written as a counterpoint to their previous album, Let There Be Witchery, which was much more focused on some longer songs, more exploring what they could do.
Yeah.
This one is much more straight ahead black and roll.
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
So I tend to be kind of hit or miss with black and roll. Like, some of it I just find to be very lumbering sounding, like just some lumbering idiot singing usually. But this I found to be very catchy. Like, it definitely reminded me of like the new kind of heavy metal, speed metal bands that are all over, and just definitely makes you want to shake your tush.
Yeah, well, you liked their previous album as well,
Yeah.
Let There Be Witchery, and
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy all their albums because it all kind of has the sound to it.
Yeah.
But Midnight are the kings of this sound.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that they put out an album this quickly as well, too. And it's short, sweet, 25.5 minutes.
Yeah.
A sitcom is longer than this album.
true.
So
It's true.
It's not going to eat up much of your time. But speaking of eating up time, I'm glad to be eating up this time again because the children are free. Sonata Arctica has come back with a power metal album known as Clear Cold Beyond.
Oh.
They are finally power metal again.
Yes.
They are not just this whimsical Tony Kakko soundtrack experience. They are a power metal band again.
Yeah.
The kids rejoiced, and they are free. What did you think?
So I still have to listen to the full album, but it's hard going into it because I have a history with Sonata and I have been burned. But like the first 4 Sonata
I don't
albums,
think they ever like led you astray thinking that it was going to be one album and it turned out to be something different.
Oh, I disagree. But
what album is that?
Hold on. Let
Okay.
me continue with my history. Like the first 4 albums are some of my favorite albums ever. Sonata was my favorite band, and then Unia like went in a little bit of a different direction, but I still enjoyed it because there was some power metal on it. There was some kind of wacky doodleness in it, but I still followed them with it. But then the next album, Stones Turn Gray, I think it was.
Stones Turn to Gray.
Like that one, and for a couple albums then, like I felt like they put out power metal singles, but then the rest of the albums did not line up with that.
That's why I read the press releases, because it lets you know that there was a little bit in there.
Sure,
So
but
it's not really swaying you the wrong way. If you
I
know
don't get
what's
press
going into it.
releases.
All you have to do is just like lean over from your computer screen to mine and you can read them.
But I didn't know you back then.
Well, some of them.
For the regular person, though, I have been burned.
All right, well, read Blabbermouth.
Let me have my moment. You were just trying to argue with me.
No, I'm not.
See, this is what I have to deal with.
No, you
But
don't.
see,
You can leave anytime.
do you feel like she's controlling you? No, he does not. But anyways, I've been burned with them is what I'm getting at. But what I'm hearing so far off this single, and I think I heard one other single possibly, I really like. I'm hopeful that they're turning back around, so I'm hopeful.
How many times have I led you astray?
Oh, you haven't. That's
Like
not
when
my
I
point.
think something is for you,
Yeah.
not just something that you should check out, but
Yeah.
when I actively say I think you'll enjoy this,
Yeah.
how many times have I been wrong?
Oh, I know. I'm not saying that. They had such a part of my heart, you know.
Right.
It's hard. It's just hard.
This is the redemption arc going back into the reality review. This is Tom's redemption arc.
He should have compared himself to Sonata Arctica instead.
Yeah, because he totally knows who Sonata Arctica is.
Right.
And they totally know who Tom from...
Exactly.
the bad Tom from
Exactly.
Band of Pop Rules is.
Scandal.
No, yes. If you haven't figured it out, Sonata's back to where they should be, and it actually feels authentic. Unlike In Flames Foregone last year,
Oof. Yeah.
which I felt was pandering.
Yes.
Because we saw them live and they said that they don't want to play the old stuff anymore.
Uh-huh.
And then all of a sudden they just made the new stuff,
Yeah.
or the old stuff, because that's what sells.
Yes.
Whereas this, it genuinely feels like this was the direction they wanted to go into.
Yes.
So that's all the stuff that came out today, and I should technically mention that the Mirath album Karma is out today as well.
Yes.
It was supposed to come out back in February. That's why I
Yes.
did the review and all that stuff, but it got pushed back a month.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand why, because it was out on the open seas for quite a few months.
It was.
Maybe it had to do with physical editions, I don't know.
That could be.
But it got pushed back a month, and it's technically out today, March 8th, as we're recording this.
Yeah.
So now you can finally check that out again and see if it's more for you or not.
Yeah.
But for the stuff that I missed along the way, one that we both genuinely enjoyed is the band Blood Opera with their debut album, which is just a nice homage to Stevie Wonder with keys in the song of death, or songs in the key of death. This is basically like an 80s heavy metal band writing about 80s and 90s horror movies.
Yes.
With some skits and segues in between, kind of telling a horror story as well. But it's got Omen, it's got Fly, it's got Candyman, it's got Hell's Gate, it's got a lot of different stuff in here.
Yes.
But what did you think as the horror connoisseur in this relationship?
I absolutely love it. It is me in an album. Like this is me as a nut in a nutshell. Like it's the perfect mix of that 80s sounding like classic heavy metal but new, mixed with like all the horror that I absolutely love, and it's perfection.
And your man.
And my man Tony Todd is on there.
Yes, on the song Be My Victim, Candyman himself does the intro to the Candyman song Be My Victim.
Yeah.
If that couldn't have been more perfect for you, I don't know what it could be. Like, it would have to be a song about the crow on there as well.
That's
the
true.
only other way to make
That
it
is
more you.
The original, not the new one.
Oh, well, hey, we don't know what direction it's going in yet.
Well, that is true.
You had your reservations about the Candyman remake sequel as well.
That is true. That is true.
Look how much we enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Although I'm not saying those pictures of Clint Howard as the Crow are very aspiring. Yes, I keep calling him Clint Howard. I know it's Bill Skarsgård. It's just he's funnier to say Clint Howard because he is the Clint Howard of the Skarsgård family.
It's true.
Yeah, we saw 3 pictures. The world saw 3 pictures. It became meme-worthy, and everyone forgot about it now.
Yeah.
But for those couple days, it was a rich tapestry of memes.
It was.
Let's wait for the trailer and wait for the movie, I guess.
All right.
But remember, at the end of the month, we are seeing the original for its
We
30th
are.
anniversary, even though it's a month or 2 early.
Yes, in 2 weeks.
Wait, it's 2 weeks already.
I know.
Well, I'm already thinking about albums for the end of April with the way that I do Out Today
well,
and What I Missed.
that's true.
Or you call it Ot Whim. I have Ot and Whim, and then Out Today and What I Missed. There's no wrong way. Just check these albums out.
Yes.
One that came as a complete shock to you.
Yeah.
And I'm very surprised you enjoy this album. It is Electric Deathbeat with a Ghost Triangle.
Yes.
This is a Finnish band. Maybe that's why.
Probably.
They combine modern metal and melodic death metal, which should be a winning combination for you. You love a band like Dead End Finland.
Yes.
But there's one thing that really stuck out that you don't normally enjoy.
That is true.
Could you go on and explain yourself?
Yeah. It has pig squeals. I don't
Well,
do...
not pig squeals.
Yeah, their version of pig squeals.
You're using the wrong term.
Fine. What would you prefer?
Gutturals.
Gutturals? Okay. Okay.
Look, see, when you do the pig squeals, like...
Okay, that's fair.
Where gutturals are, it's just like it's the deep low.
Yeah.
If you put up enough bass, you're gonna have to go to the bathroom because it just shuffles you up. And wouldn't you know about that this week? But,
I would.
I continue on.
But yes, I do not do gutturals or pig squeals. But it's such an odd mix of that plus electronic plus clean vocals plus so many other things that it just works, and I really enjoyed it. It's weird, strange. It's so weird.
It's like Soilwork and Dead in Finland used gutturals.
Yeah.
It's an odd mix, but
It is.
I think it really works.
It does.
And speaking of stuff that really, really works, I can't believe I'm saying this. A brand new album from Haunt with Dreamers.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say is very shocking since 2017. This is the 10th album from Haunt.
Jesus.
So he puts like multiple albums out a year.
Yeah, I had no idea it was the 10th already.
Yeah. So you've only heard a couple songs off of here, but what have you thought about the songs so far?
Absolutely love it. I love Haunt. I loved quite a few of their albums, although again, I had no idea.
They never make your tops though.
They have.
They have?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
But this one actually has really amazing production, unlike the other ones, which is so crazy to hear.
The best production Haunt has ever had.
Yeah, it sounds so good, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
It's been a really good year for the revival metal sound.
It has.
I mean, you got Blood Opera, you got Haunt, you got Striker, who put out one of the best albums of the year.
Yes.
It's been a really good time for revival metal, and of course last year too, like Nightwind and all those great albums that came out last year.
Absolutely.
It's a thriving time, and proving that you just don't need Iron Maiden and Judas Priest to get that sound.
Or Metallica.
Well, they don't sound like Metallica, but I get
No,
your point.
I'm just going with all the classic bands.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I was going with like classic heavy metal sound.
I get you now.
Metallica's thrash.
Yes.
Then, so.
I know. I'm slow coming to it.
For my complete left turn of the week.
Yes.
Swedish singer Louise Lemon with her brand new album Lifetime of Tears.
Yes.
This took me by complete surprise because it feels like occult rock, alternative rock, and a little bit of soul.
Yeah.
Like graveyard soul music.
Yeah.
And it just captivated me and intrigued me so much, and I wanted to show this off.
Yeah.
You, though?
It's not bad. It's just so not my usual style. Maybe if I listen to more of it, I get into it, but off the bat, it's not something I would usually go to. But again, it's not bad. It's just, I don't know what to make of it, I guess.
Might be a grower.
Might be a grower.
And in speaking of growers, I can only hope in time that I can add this to the Spin the Choice wheel and do an accountability 101 on this one. She lovingly grabs my hand and says, "Yes, Josh, please add them to the wheel. In fact, let's get rid of whoever we were going to be talking about next week."
Let's just do this instead.
Forget about Nevermore.
Yeah.
Let's do the return after 17 years. Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum is back.
Yes.
With Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum of the Last Human Being.
Yes.
Yes, the avant-garde experimental band is back after releasing their last album, which came out in 2007, the year I graduated, which has given me an existential crisis in and of itself, that they've been gone for 17 years, and that's how long I've graduated, which means that this year, half of my life has been since I graduated. It's really messing me up. It's really messing me up.
2007 should not be 17 years ago.
No, it should not. It's I'm gonna be 36 this year. Graduated when I was 18, so next year will technically be that halfway point. But I graduate with 18, but 17.
Yeah.
Graduated then. It just feels wrong.
Yeah.
But what feels right is this album going into the avant-garde styles, the experimental stuff. You love your violins, and there's violins all over the place here with many other stringed instruments that are not normally known in the metal world. Of course, great art rock, experimental stuff going on.
Yeah.
You never know what direction this is going to be going into.
Yeah.
It's if you want your music left of center.
That's one way of putting it.
Now, why don't you tell me about your, I'm not going to say album of the year, but I'd say contender for album of the year for you.
So for me, it sounds like Damien from The Omen put on a polyester suit and started the wankiest prog band he could think of. And no.
What do you mean no?
It is not for me.
That's not what you told me before.
I'm pretty sure I did.
No, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not.
I'm pretty sure you've sat me down before and said, "Hey, I have a newfound appreciation for the avant-garde."
And for the Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum.
Yes, which is your favorite band name ever since you discovered it.
Well, yeah.
Of course, anyone who truly knows the Metal Faerie knows that she despises quirky names like that, and and steak sauce mustache and modeling of the well and all this other stuff. No, this is completely 180 from what she enjoys.
They should have named the album Harambe.
You talked about Flesh God being too weird when it came to like different moments. That looks pretty AC/DC compared to Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum.
That is true.
I enjoy it. They're going to be here in a few days. I don't get to go, but I'm glad to see that they're out on tour.
Yeah.
They crowdfunded, I think close to $500,000 to be able to make a new album and be able to do a North American tour, so I think that's pretty cool. Even if it's not for you, I'm not even going to say it's going to make my top 100 or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate some weird kooky stuff, and like I said, I might as well just be a virgin as well for enjoying this stuff. Sorry to those that do enjoy Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum, but in your heart of hearts, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
You know it's true.
Girl, you know it's true.
Yes.
And girl, you know it's the end of the show.
Yes.
Thank you so very, very much for sticking around for episode 35 of the Heavy Debriefings podcast.
Yes.
5 away from 40.
Ooh.
And then we'll be 12 away from the 1-year anniversary of when we started this whole revival shebang. You still enjoying this?
I am. Are you?
Well, when I started off the show, I was a bit apprehensive today because I've had a lot of stuff going on mentally.
Yeah.
But it won me over. I'm doing a lot better now. It's instantly going to go away once I turn off mic and everything, but I do feel a lot better. Yeah. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Stick around for the outro to be able to check out everything that you need to know about the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Everything that I do. And until next week when we get into episode 36.
Yes.
Which I believe was... 35 was the Weather Channel for me on cable.
Okay.
I think 36 was Home and Garden.
It was TNT for me.
No, that was 32 for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Show how old-timey we are with the old way of how cable used to be.
35 was MTV for me.
That was 40. No, wait. I think it was 41 for me. No, wait. 40 was MTV. 41 was VH1.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyways, for the Metal Faerie, this is a very mentally unwell this week, Josh Runquist, with my thinning scalp. And thank you for always reminding me on YouTube every single week of this. This is Josh Runquist for the Heavy Debriefings podcast saying, and I do mean it because of the ravages of age. And you know what? Do you know why I say embrace the skullet?
Oh.
Because it's the ravages of age.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 guys go bald by the time that they're 35, or at least start to thin their hair.
Oh, yeah.
When I say embrace the skullet, it means embrace getting older.
Yes.
Embrace the changes in life.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm doing, and I'm keeping it.
I'm proud of you for it.
Thank you. I could shave my head bald, but I don't think you would like me bald.
I like it like this.
I do too.
Yeah.
No one else does.
Well, nobody else has to.
I'm gonna save that joke for off mic. But yes, that's why I keep the embrace the skullet going on, is because, you know, it's like, this is happening to me. I'm embracing getting older.
Yeah.
And you know what? You're gonna have to too. So until next week again, for the Metal Faerie, this is the balding Josh Runquist saying embrace the skullet.